let's do part 5 of the book I'm reading called The Mouse and the Motorcycle by Beverly. Now that we see that Ralph's on a motorcycle and he took it out in the hallway and he saw the dog and he heard the door being shut and he rode around and he wanted to go explore more. And then he also saw somebody else named Matt that let him into the room. Now the mom thought they saw a mouse on a motorcycle. Now she's on a ride out to the manager that this place has mice. And so now Ralph is on the sleeve of Kenneth's pajamas inside, and Dad was laughing because they thought Mom was still dreaming, something like that. So that's what's been going on. So let's get back on to part 5 of the book, The Mouse and the Motorcycle by Beverly, and it's called Peanut Butter Sandwiches, Chapter 6. I told you to be careful, scolded Kenneth. When his parents had gone to dress and Ralph had crawled down his arm into his head, it wasn't my fault the door blew shut. Ralph jumped from the hand to the bedspread. Through Kenneth was a friend, boy, even a generous one. Ralph still did not like the feel of skin against his paws. It must be terrible to go through life without fur and such a nonsense, having to wear clothes that had to be washed and drip dry. Ralph knew all about drip dry. Many were the drops of water from shirts and spills that had dogs going in and out of his mouth. So you didn't have to stay out so long, Kenneth pointed out as he began to dress. What's the use having motorcycles if you can't tear around staying out late? Ralph asked reasonably. You don't have a motorcycle, said Kenneth. I just let you use mine, and you better be careful. I like the motorcycle, and I don't want anything to happen to it. I'll take care of it, promised Ralph, somewhat chastely. I don't want anything to happen to it either. It's going to be harder to get a chance to ride it now that my mother has seen you, said Kenneth, said a terrible good housekeeper, and she's sure to complain to the manager. Speaking of breakfast, you people are too tidy, complained Ralph. I'm not getting enough to eat around here. You don't leave crumbs. Any crumbs. I never thought of it, said Kenneth. What would you like to eat? Ralph was astonished. This was the first time in his life anyone had asked him what he would like to eat. It had always been a question of what he could get his paws on. You mean I have a choice? He asked inconsiderately. Sure, said the boy. All I have to do is order it when we go down to breakfast and then bring you some. Ralph had to take time to think after a diet rack and graham crackers provided by the little children, bits of candy, and occasionally peanut butter or apple cores laid by medium-sized children, a crust of toast and a dab of jam left by an aunt who had ordered breakfast sent up from room service. The possibility of choosing his own meal was almost too much. This is horrible. I know what I like, Ralph said. At least I don't know what you call it. Once some people who said they were almost out of money stayed in these rooms. They have 4 children, all of them hungry, and they couldn't afford to go to dining room, so they got some bread and spread it with something brown out of a jar and some more bread on top of it. They whispered all the time they were eating because they didn't want the maid or bellboy to know they were having a meal in their room. Afterwards, they all go down on their hands and knees and pick up every single crumb on the carpet so no one would guess they had eaten in their rooms. It was a great disappointment. It smelled so good, like peanut butter, only better. The boy laughed. It was a peanut butter sandwich. Sir, I'll bring you a peanut butter sandwich, or part of one. I'll eat part of it myself. I'll bring kind of a funny breakfast, but I wouldn't mind that. Where would you leave it? Asked Ralph. Kenneth thought a minute. Where do you live? He asked. In the knothole under the window. No kidding, Kenneth laughed. That's the hole I poked my finger in last night. I say you do, said Ralph. Scared me out of a year's growth. Nobody even guessed it a mouse hole because it's a knot hole instead of a chew hole. I tell you what, said Kenneth, I'll bring you up a part of peanut butter sandwich and I poke it through the knot hole, just like room service. Ralph could not have been more pleased with the selection. "Oh, what about the motorcycle?" he asked. "Where are you going to leave it?" "In my suitcase, I guess." "Aw, come on," pleaded Ralph. "Have a heart. Leave it somewhere where I can get it while you're out during the day." "You sure you'll be in your mouse while asleep by not riding around in the daylight when people can see you?" "Well, geez whiz, can't a fellow even look at it?" asked Ralph. "I bet you like to look at big motorcycles yourself." "Yes, I do," admitted the boy. "Well, I'll leave it back under the bed like I said, but you promise not to ride it until after dark." "Scout's honors." Ralph jumped off the bed and ran off to the knothole. Ralph home was finished with a clutter of things people dropped on the floor. Hotel rooms, bit of Kleenex hair, Raven. I can say that. Raven, his mother, was always planning to straighten it out, but she never got around to it. She was always too busy fussing and worried. Now, as Ralph expected, she was driving by Chris Crumbs among his squeaky bunch of little brothers and sisters. Why was she waiting to scold him? "Ralph, if I told you once, I told you 1,000 times," she began. "Guess what?" interrupted Ralph in an attempt to change the subject. "Somebody in 215 is going to bring us a real peanut butter sandwich." Ralph chewed his fingers. Ralph cried to his frightened mother, "You haven't been associating with people." "Aw, he's just a boy," said Ralph, deciding to keep the complete story of the danger and the glory of the past night to himself. "He wouldn't hurt us. He likes mice, but he's a person," said his mother. Why does it do that? "That doesn't mean to be bad," said Ralph. Just pop just like Pop used to say. "People should say all mice are timid just because some mice are, or that all mice play with a cat anyways, just because some do." "Just the same," Ralph said his mother, "I do wish you would be more careful whom you associate with. I'm so afraid you will fall in with the wrong sort of friend." "I'm grown up," said Ralph. "I get too old to hang around a mouse nest all the time. I want to go out and see the world. I want to go down on the ground floor and see the kitchen and the dining room and the storeroom and the garbage cans out back." "Oh, Ralph," cried his mother, "not the ground floor, not at all. The way down there you aren't old enough." "Yes, I am," said Ralph sternly. "There's no telling what you might run into down there. Mouse traps, cat poison. Why, out by the garbage can you might even be seen by an owl." "I don't care," said Ralph. "Someday I'm going downstairs. But think of the owls, Ralph," implored his mother. "We moved into this hotel because owls. It was after your Uncle Laurie disappeared and his bones were found in an owl pellet." The mother mouse plead was interrupted by the sound of keys returning to room 15. "Now you see," said Ralph to his mother, and waited innocently lest his friend let him down. Sure enough, Kenneth came to the knothole. "Piss," he whispered. "Here it is. The waitress thought I was crazy ordering a peanut butter sandwich along with my cornflakes for breakfast, but here it is." He stuffed half a sandwich a bit at a time into the hole. Whereas Ralph sized the piece and pulled them all the way through the listing. "We're going to be gone most of the day. The dining room is packed us a picnic lunch, and we're going to drive along some of the back roads and visit some old mining towns." Thanks a lot," Ralph managed to say with his mouth watering. "Have fun." "See you tonight," said Kenneth. "Have a good day sleeping." Ralph's mother could not help being impressed by the sight of the peanut butter sandwich. Just like room service," she marveled. "Why, it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and even has butter in it." "I told you that he would bring it," Ralph could not help boasting, even though his mother was